Hi, I'm Josh Fishman, president and owner of Fishman Son Diamonds in New York. Welcome back to our Diamond Education series. Today I would like to discuss with you an issue which is not very exciting, but which is important, and that is diamond and jewelry appraisals. Most of you have probably thought about using an appraisal either before you make a purchase in order to see what the value of what you're buying is, and you want to get a good deal, so you'd like that appraisal to be more than what you're anticipating paying, or after your purchase because you need an appraisal for an insurance company in order to insure your item in the event of loss or damage. It's not an exciting thing, but I would like to try to make it simple for you and hopefully pleasure to listen to this video. As is said, figures lie and liars figure. And that's true with appraisals also. What does that number on an appraisal mean before you buy an item? You take that item to somebody who's independent and they put a figure on it to evaluate what the value is, and you want that appraisal to be more than what you've paid for it. Or you want to have something insured by an insurance company, so you want to have a value for replacement cost. Those numbers may be very different. I've had people come to me with an appraisal that is way inflated over what they paid for it, expecting to receive in payment on sale what that appraisal says. Now that's nonsense. Anybody can put a number down. Here's the definition of appraisal. An appraisal is something that states an opinion, somebody's individual opinion about the value, condition, or importance of something. So an appraisal is someone's personal opinion, probably and hopefully a professional opinion. But what does it mean? Let's discuss the area of appraisals before you make a purchase in two contexts. One, the purchase of a loose diamond, and second, the purchase of a piece of fine diamond jewelry. In the case of a loose diamond, hopefully you've made your selection of a GIA certificated diamond. That's all we at Fishman Son sell, and there's a big difference in evaluating a GIA certificated diamond versus a diamond certificated from another laboratory like the EGL. I recommend that you watch my other videos, including the one GIA versus EGL buyer beware, so that you can understand those differences. They are very important. But I'm going to discuss this issue as relates to GIA certificated diamonds. It's very easy for someone to compare the diamond and the certificate and evaluate whether that diamond is what it is supposed to be, as reflected in the certificate. But what about the value that's put on that? Obviously, it depends on where in the place of the distribution chain you're making your purchase. Are you buying from a retail store? Are you buying from an importer and wholesaler, or the manufacturer? In any of these cases, the number will be different. Most independent laboratories select a multiple of a list price to evaluate and put a value on a diamond. But they can't tell you whether that diamond is the right diamond to buy. So an appraisal, the opinion on value on a loose diamond, doesn't give you the most important aspect that you need to know, and that is, should you buy that diamond? Sure, it's got the right certificate, sure, it matches up with the diamond, and it evaluates for more than you're planning to pay for that diamond. But is it the right diamond? I'm going to discuss the issue of value and whether you should buy that diamond just a little bit later. As far as a piece of diamond jewelry is concerned, what is it that you need to know? You need to know that the carat weight is as described and that the quality is as described. Again, it's very difficult for any independent laboratory to even make that valuation with exactitude, and that is because you're not taking the diamonds out of a ring in order to weigh them. And given that you're not doing that, any person can inflate the diamond weight slightly and give you a higher carat weight, which the laboratory will take as a given. Now, what that means is that a value based on an inflated carat weight is not as reputable as one given on a regular correct carat weight. So you have to be careful that you're not being misled by the carat weight that's given to you by the seller, because it will make it appear that you're buying a bargain. So what is it that we want to know about an appraisal before you make a purchase? You want to know that the loose diamond is what it is supposed to be, and that the diamond jewelry piece has the carat weight and the quality as advertised. Value is something else. Next, let's turn to insurance companies. What is an appraisal for insurance purposes all about? If you've made a purchase of significant value, you will probably want to have that item insured by an insurance company in the event of loss or damage. What should that appraisal reflect, and what's the value that should be put on it? Again, it will depend on where in the chain of distribution you've made that purchase. The more expensive retail outlet will require you to have a higher valuation because you'll have to replace it, or you may think you have to replace it at that retail store. On the other hand, if you buy it from someone like Fishman Son, who is a manufacturer of jewelry and an importer, wholesaler, and manufacturer of loose diamonds, you won't have to replace it at such a high value. Our profit margins are small and our prices are lower because we deal in much more volume. So you want an appraisal that will cover you for replacement value, plus a little fudge factor for inflation and perhaps for the deductible that you may have to pay. But most important, you want an accurate description of the item. You want a feel about the item, not just statistics about the item. For a GIA certificated stone, you want the dimensions of that diamond reflected in your appraisal. You want an analysis of what that diamond looked like inside, not just the actual letter grade that it may have gotten. For a piece of jewelry, you want an accurate description of the carat weight and the quality, and a photograph of the item so that it can be replaced for what it is, not just the generic title. So what we do at Fishman Son is we make reference to the GIA certificate for a loose diamond, and we give you exact weights for the diamond jewelry because, after all, we are the manufacturer. As far as the value is concerned, we place a value which is not a retail value, and it is not actual cost value. There is inflation in this world, and we want to cover you for that inflation because otherwise you will ask us every few weeks whether the value is higher or lower. And we also want to cover you for the deductible, so our valuation is usually 25 or 30% more than what you've paid for that item. That value is not designed to make you feel good. It's not designed to make you feel like you've bought a bargain. If the diamond or the piece of jewelry was worth the higher amount as a purchase price, then that's what it would be sold to you for. It's also not a price at which you should go about and think that you can actually go and sell that item. You can't. There's a profit that's being made, and that profit will be taken out. Over time, given inflation, you may be able to get much more of the value than simply if you turned around and sold it the next day. But we don't want you to think that this is a feel-good appraisal. That's not what we are in the business to do. We give you the right price to begin with. If the price was worthy of being higher, it would have cost more. If it was worthy of being lower, it would have cost less. We give you a fair price for a great item, and that's what the appraisal should reflect, plus, as I said, some fudge factor for inflation. Let's talk about value now for a moment, because that is really an important item in evaluating your potential purchase before you make that purchase for yourself. As I promised, I'd like to discuss the issue of value. Now, the question of value applies primarily to a loose diamond. A piece of jewelry has a style to it. You're paying for the style and the design, and it's really hard to judge whether it is the right item to buy or not the right item to buy. If the quality is as promised and the carat weight is as promised, and you love the design, then that is a price that you have to pay, and it doesn't really matter whether or not that appraisal comes in higher or lower than you might expect. If you're buying it at a manufacturer's level and you want a retail appraisal, it obviously will appraise for more. But the issue of value and valuation and desirability comes into play primarily with a loose diamond, because regardless of what price, dollar amount, is placed on an appraisal before you make a purchase of a loose diamond, it cannot tell you whether or not that diamond is worth buying. And the independent appraiser who doesn't buy or sell diamonds can also not tell you whether it is worth buying. He will appraise two diamonds of the same grade and the same carat weight, pretty much the same, because he is not experienced in putting his money down to buy or sell diamonds. So he doesn't know whether or not the SI2 of one diamond is better than the SI2 of a second diamond, and whether that diamond, the first diamond, is worth more. It is, of course, as I've described in many of my other videos. But the appraisal can't tell you that. The only thing that can tell you that is a reputable diamantaire, someone who owns his own inventory, who actually spends his money to buy and sell diamonds and puts his money where his mouth is. Someone like A. Fishman & Son, when we sell diamonds, we've bought those diamonds, and we know what it is that we're selling, and we can tell you whether or not it is a desirable diamond to purchase. So it's great to get an appraisal before you make a purchase to assure yourself that the quality is as reflected in the certificate. But that isn't the end of the story. It's much more important to know that you're buying the right diamond. And how do you do that? You have to go to a source that has the ability to describe that diamond to you. Either you have to see it for yourself, or very often you're in a location where you cannot come to someone like A. Fishman & Son, and you have to rely on the trustworthiness and the reputation of the seller that is guiding you correctly. Someone with great ratings by the Better Business Bureau, solid references and reviews by former customers. That is the kind of source that you should go to make sure that not only is the diamond the right diamond, that's the easy part, but that it is the value that you should be getting for your money, and that is the right purchase to make, not just the right price on an appraisal. So I'm looking forward to hearing from you. If you have any questions, I recommend that you go to our Diamond Education Center on our website, afishman.com, and look at all of the other videos that I've produced so far, and you'll educate yourself and become an educated consumer. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to call me. Until next time, this is Josh Fishman from A. Fishman & Son. Have a great day.